So recently Sonic Frontiers has had a ton of footage at Tokyo Gameshow and it's got me excited to say the least. I think that Sonic Frontiers has nothing to worry about in terms of gameplay, atmosphere, and world design. And I know that may sound crazy because some people are feeling that there's a lot of problems with like pop-in and floating things and automation. While yes, I do think those are problems, but I don't think it's going to be enough to make this game not fun. I can't see this game being anything below decent at this point, and I'm not really worried about the game. And I've already talked about the combat in depth in this video right here, but I want to talk about things outside of the combat, as I feel they're starting to nail what it is to be a decent looking Sonic game for once. But before we get into why I'm not really that worried, and why you probably shouldn't worry as much either, hey, you there. Yeah, you watching. There's 49,000 people that keep coming back to these videos. I don't really have 49,000 subscribers. Since you guys keep on coming back, why not hit the subscribe button? It really helps out the channel, and so that way you don't have to miss anything. Thanks guys. Reason number one why I'm not really that worried. I see actual effort put into this game and they actually have a real vision that's going forward for once. Sonic Forces, a lot of stuff was on paper that sounded really cool, but it just didn't turn out the way that it probably should have and felt very rushed and didn't look like it even was resembling anything remotely what they wanted to put in the paper. AKA like Sonic being tortured, or Knuckles being a competent leader of the resistance, or bringing back classic Sonic and having all of these new levels, and really these levels were just not grand in any way, shape, or form. To me, Open Zone, which I still think it's still basically open world, they stuck with that vision through and through and they really put some faith into it. It doesn't feel like they just are throwing out Frontiers, and that is one thing that really catches my attention. Reason number two is that they're trying to appeal to older Sonic fans once again, and it's been a long time since they've tried that. And they know if they want to do that, you gotta try a bit harder because the games we had back then were pretty fire. Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2, some may even say Sonic Heroes. Those were some really heat games, and honestly, they did try with those games whether people want to say so or not, and we haven't had that level of try since Generations, honestly. But they really are putting their all in Frontier. Sega apparently was going to rush Sonic Team to get Sonic Frontiers out, but Takashi Iizuka fought back against that and made sure that the team had more time to create their vision. And this is really a passion project that I can see. And people like to clown on Kishimoto. I don't really clown on him because I think it's kind of stupid to clown on the director because not everything is literally their fault, even though they do have the title director. Some people really don't understand how job roles work in the gaming industry, and that's okay. They just blame one person. Like when people used to blame Iizuka for everything, when really he's kind of a goat if I'm being honest. Even though he may say some strange things that don't really make sense, but he still does his job. Imagine if the whole world is watching you for your job that you're doing at all times. I feel like that'd be kind of weird having people critique you all the time for your job. Yeah, I'm talking about you, little Timmy working at McDonald's right now. Imagine the whole world watching you, critiquing you working at McDonald's. And actually, I guess that goes for me too, because people definitely critique me all the freaking time, so. But anyway, the point is that they have some real confidence. And it's also pretty cool that they won an award at Tokyo Gameshow for the most anticipated game. People are really looking forward to this game because people can see the effort. Now in the very beginning the game looked very rough, but as more and more information came out, the game looked better and better, and you can see that they really do care about this game. It may not have pinball physics or the things that everybody wants, but I do think it is just not terrible in any way, shape, or form. Now, there are some things that I do think kind of meet that end of terrible, but we'll get there. Reason number three, I just want to play as Sonic and run around for once and not have to go forward in a boost game. It's something that I've been wanting for quite a while. And some of you may say Lost World, and Lost World didn't really fit my fancy of that, to be honest. Yeah, you could run around and stuff, but that game had a bunch of other problems that just made it not enjoyable. The level design for me personally was not up to standards and was very Galaxy-like, which I just didn't really care for with Sonic in that setting, if I'm being honest. But I also have a very strong bias against Lost World. But Frontiers is the kind of run around in the world that I want. I want to run around as Sonic really fast, boost, and beat stuff up. That's literally all I want to do. And the fact that I can do that in Frontiers is pretty cool, and that puts the game up pretty high for me so far in terms of wanting to play it. And so far the open world doesn't look terrible. It doesn't look boring in any way, shape, or form. There's always something going on that I've seen so far. I'd say Kronos Island though is probably the least interesting. I think the little bit of Ares Island that we saw looks a lot more fun to me personally, and I like the setting a bit more. But overall, I'm pretty excited to just get into this world and fight stuff and figure out what's going on. And the next reason is the story. It seems like they have emphasis on the story this time around, with Ian Flynn penning the game, and seeing some of the cutscenes and what Sonic says. It's really reminiscent of what I like about Sonic, if I'm being honest. And that gives me hope that I will actually care for once about the story. And Azuka said, in one of the interviews, it was either Azuka or Kishimoto, but they had mentioned that they're targeting an older audience for this game in general in the story, specifically young adults. And hey, that's me, I'm a young adult. But those are some of the biggest reasons why I think Sonic Frontiers doesn't worry me. But let's talk about some things I think that do just a little bit. One of them is cyberspace. Cyberspace does not look great. It really doesn't, and there's no way that I can justify it looking amazing. But it's also not a huge part of the game. You can skip almost entirely cyberspace. They said it's completely optional and you don't really need it to progress the story, so it's just side content if you technically think about it. But they're kind of like Breath of the Wild shrines. In a way, you don't really need them to beat the game. I guess except the main ones that you have to do. But overall, I think cyberspace definitely needs some improvement. I heard that the controls aren't the greatest in cyberspace, which really doesn't attribute to it being that great, and the level design is very Forces reminiscent. And that's kind of a bummer to hear. I'll still likely play the cyberspace in my playthrough of the game, but I just wish, it was a bit more up to par like Generations or Unleashed. And honestly, cyberspace feels like an afterthought just to have Sonic-y stuff in the game, or stuff we're already familiar with. But really, I feel like they should have just gone all in their open zone idea and added even more content in the open zone. They could have added like levels within the world. And that's something they can probably do in the next game, is integrate just full-on levels within the world, and you have to run through the level to like get to a different part of a map. You could think of it like a Crash Bandicoot bridge level, where like the bridges are, bridges between each level or world, and you can just have it that way, where a level is like a bridge in a way to the next area of the game. I think that would be a great idea and something they could expand upon later on. But at the end of the day, I'm not praising Frontiers in this video. What I'm saying is I'm not worried about it. I don't think it's going to be a terrible game, and if it does, then of course I'll eat my words, but from what I'm seeing, I don't think it's going to be bad. I think it's going to be a decent game. And if people are allowed to trash on the game before the game comes out and thinks it looks terrible, then I should be allowed to think that it's going to be a decent game. I think that's pretty fair if you ask me. I see actual effort being put into Frontiers. I see actual care. It may not be 100% of what we want, or even maybe 60%, but it does look like they are going for a vision, and I care more about a completed vision more than anything. If a vision isn't going to be completed and it's just like half-baked and little effort put into it, then it makes me more critical of a game. It's kind of like how people view Star Wars prequel movies. They think that they're terrible compared to the originals, but at least they had a vision compared to the new ones. The vision is what really sets them apart from everything else and makes it feel like a complete product, and Frontiers looks like it mostly has a vision. The only place I don't really see a strong vision in is within cyberspace, because it feels like an afterthought. But everything else in the open world feels like they actually wanted to do this, and this is part of their goal. But those are my thoughts on Sonic Frontiers and why I think that it won't be bad, and I'm not worried about it personally. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you hit the like and subscribe, and like always, I'll see you in the next one.
Well, whatever happens, happens.